Mitraman Bandhu, welcome to South Asia Maps Education Channel. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy at South Asia Maps. Today's the topic of discussion is Human Ecology Predicament from the works of Dr. Cotton, his pioneering book, Overshoot book and Bottleneck book. We are discussing today part 71, population density versus population pressure. And if you are new to my channel, there is in South Asia Maps JRD is a YouTube education channel. There are more than 280 plus videos on varied diverse topics. You can go and explore them, and if you like them, and you can subscribe them and bring it to the attention of your friends. That is the this is the part 71. That means previously I have made many series. Today we are discussing about population density over population pressure. I call it MICD. We will discuss it. Before that, we discussed about many aspects of human ecology: circular energy, linear energy, ecology carrying capacity, and taking over, drawing down overview. And before that, mostly about the provinces in India and their populations, how many people they're pumping every year, every decade to the planet Earth. Before that, 52 and so on, we discussed about the various countries, how many people they're pumping out to the global population. And this is the basic, some of the very fundamental concepts of human ecology, carrying capacity, taking over and so on. You can look at them in the site. Population is a very, very important aspect we should keep in mind, and any discussion of the social issues, political issues, history and economy always has to be interlaced with population, and that has to be looked from an ecological perspective. So this is one of the most important the paradigm Dr. Cotton introduced by in his Overshoot book. It's a very pioneering book. Professor of Ecology at Washington State University, Pullman, and Bottleneck book. And these are very pioneering works, and I have taken most of the concepts from that and extrapolated with my knowledge, so that it will be very important inkling that if you have, you can bring into social political discourses, and overall you can understand what is going on the planet Earth, what are the ecological forces, limitations that are driving our history. Political leaders will not be making much impact, even though in the short time you will be thinking like that, but it is finally the ecological factors, the limitations, that play a very vital role on the planet Earth. If you study, read, look at it, my presentations, you will get a very good inkling and start looking at the aspects in a different perspective. Before that, population density is a very easy to understand. Population density, you see the number of people living in a particular area. That is we say this particular country, United States, has a 330 million people. 330 humans live there, millions. The surface area is 10 million. You divide, you get around about 33 million people per square kilometers. That is the population density. This is the planet Earth. The surface area is around about 150 million square kilometers. Surface area of 150 million square kilometers means you can fit 150 countries of the size of Egypt, which is 1 million square kilometers. So that means the 150 divided 150 million, we have 8 billions, means 8,000. 8,000 you divide by 150, you get round about 53 persons per square kilometers. That means uniformly distributed, means even in Alaska, in Greenland, in Amazon, Saharan desert, interior, outbacks of Australia, where there are very few people. That is the population density. The China has a 150 million people. 150 million people live in the mainland China. That is a 10 million square kilometers, gives the population density of 150 per square kilometers. The India, South Asia, round about India has 1400 million people living in 3.2 million square kilometers, gives her 450 or so people per every square kilometers. And a province called United Provinces, Uttar Pradesh, very densely populated province, has around about 240,000 square kilometers, that is 0.24 million square kilometers, almost 1/4 million square kilometers, means 1/4 of Egypt in surface area. That has around about 220 million people. So that gives a population density of 920, almost maybe 1,000 by this time. That means if you go and put the people in every square kilometer, there will be 1,000 people. That is a humongous population. So the provinces like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, East Bengal, West Bengal, Kerala, they have nearly 1,000 people living per square kilometer. That's very easy, population density. Excuse me. What is the population pressure? Population pressure is, we discussed about a frequency of mutual interference per capita per day. I call this mutual interference per capita per day, MICD or MI. I have given good example there. This is a case, there are 2 mice there, again there are 5 here, same 5. So let's say they each rarely bump, interfere with each other. Let's say arbitrarily we give MICD 2. If you put more mice, maybe MICD 20, because they are moving around every time they hit each other. At the same 5 mice, if you put in the cage and below it you put electric twitches and give the pulsations of electricity every few seconds, they will be moving around extensively, interacting, hitting each other. So MICD will be very high. Similarly, we looked at taking an apartment complex, MICD. So let's take, for example, this is an apartment complex we have here, and there are 10 in the United States, the Western world, where there is immense population pressure, MICD, there are 10 hours, let's say they do automobile movements, and 60 minutes means 6,600 minutes, 60 minutes, and 10 hours is 6,600 minutes, and so many seconds. So there are they make 5 trips in and 5 trips out. That is an average journey a car makes in the United States cities and towns. So 10 entries. There is imagine there is only one gate here. 100 cars will make around about 1,000 entries. So these are the seconds divided by 1,000 car entries. You will give around about 36 seconds. Every 36 seconds there will be an exit or entry. If you are giving 100 cars here, if you are giving 200 cars, that will become 18 seconds. Suppose if there are less cars, 50, then 72 seconds. That means if there are any pedestrians, any children playing there, they walk around, so they have to cross here this road. They will get a interference with the cars moving. And again, car driver will get interference because he has to go at less speed, because there will be children, there will be pedestrians walking, bicyclists moving like that. So population pressure is MICD, mutual interference per capita per day. So here Dr. Cotton gives some examples. We can look population density. There are 8,000 million people on the planet Earth. The population pressure. See, this is the land area of the planet Earth, that is 150 million square kilometers. The water area is 360, around about 510 or so. This is a finite habitat. In a finite habitat, if you put more people, more organisms, there is always more population pressure. There is a mutual interference. An organism want to do certain things, interfered by other organism. So the economic development, technological development increases the population pressure. So nowadays it is no more welcome in the big cities. You see the lot of congestions and the traffic and the police and compliance rules, enforcement and so on. So ordinary person feels interference by pursuing the normal things, normal happiness. So the development not anymore welcome the growth of abundance. So there is a more compliance rules, there is a more policemen, the lawyers, security forces and so on. Population pressure is more for Homo colossus than Homo sapien. Homo sapien means a normal person maybe 100 years back consumes lot less resources, lived in a village. Whereas a Homo colossus is a modern human being. Most of the people on the planet Earth today are Homo colossus. Colossus means essentially giant. That means he drives the car, lives in centrally heated apartments and so on. So for a given number of Homo sapiens, PPR will be less compared to Homo colossus. That means essentially they are the more prosthetic members, whereas Homo sapiens are less prosthetic. Prosthetic means additional organ. A car is a prosthetic, helicopter is a prosthetic organ where you can fly. Imagine like a aeroplane, you have humans have big wings, they can fly and so on. The big legs, they can run 100 kilometers per hour. That is a prosthetic car, prosthetic. So traffic congestions, accidents and driver frustrations, insurance. If you put more roads means more taxes, people doesn't like it. You put more policemen everywhere enforcing the rules, speeding tickets, and everywhere you see a sign, you have to comprehend, understand, look at it, and all these things are population pressure, means they're interfering with your normal activities, normal happiness. The fixed number of people living in a fixed area experience the population pressure if they turn into colossus. Colossus means energy consuming. Here the fixed number of organisms, mice living in this area, suppose there is a technology beneath it, or if you put a small chip in their body beneath it and program it that every few seconds the chip pulsates and the mice will be moving around with the accelerated speed. That is a technology. So in a fixed area, fixed number of people, even though suppose if there is no chip in this mice and the MICD will be lot less. That means the fixed number of people living in a fixed area experience more PPR when they go into colossus status. That means technologically more equipped people. So this population pressure has a darkened our future. That's a very, very important thing we have to keep in mind. So this population pressure, why it happened means is a population overload. Next is a technology overload. Population overload, technology. Imagine in this apartment complex in the medieval times, same number of people live and there are no cars, means there is a less population pressure, PPR. That means if you add more technology, give a four-wheeler to the most of these people who can drive 40 to 50 kilometers, there is a more PPR, more MICD, more population pressure. That's what it is, population overloading and technology overloading. There is a population pressure increases antagonism. How? Let's say population pressure is a technology. That means you introduce the medical technologies. And before the medical technologies came, the human females, if they conceive a baby, they have to deliver a baby. They have no choice. So there is no pressure, they know. But now, the technological innovations give a choice for a female at a particular stage she wants, she can terminate the baby. So that is unborn baby. That means this technological pressure, interference means you are interfering with the life of a prospective person who is supposed to enter into the new world. So the technological prowess, power, PPR gives antagonism even to the unborn one. This is a form of a pressure, unpleasantness, and that particular female faces. Competitive relations in humans today, competition for the jobs, competition for the schools, competition everywhere. So that increases the PPR, population pressure, increases the competition, competitive relations among the humans. That means essentially antagonistic relations, antagonistic attitude. If you are driving a car and your person who is in the front of your car is essentially an antagonist. If he stops and if you hit the car, you will be involved in accident, your insurance increases, and your car is damaged. Maybe you have to incur enormous amount of loss yourself and also that person. So they're essentially mutually antagonistic with each other in potentially. This leads to ecological antagonism, means putting the more people, putting the more technology, population overload, technological overload. Ecologically, this is essentially ecological antagonism. This ecological antagonism leads to social antagonism, political antagonism, and so on. Generally, we obscure these things and think something else, but it is an ecological concept. So the population pressure is nothing but MICD, mutual interference per day, per capita per day. So that's a very, very important concept you have to keep in mind. This happens due to population overload and technological overload. This is the ecological principle. Lots of laws are made in many countries. We feel very uncomfortable. This is a natural feature because there is a population pressure. We generally ignore, that is get obscured. We start blaming the political leaders or policemen and all those type of things you have to keep in mind. That's what today's the topic of discussion about the population density, population pressure. We look at the population density of the states and the planet Earth, the PD. Then we look at the population pressure, PPR, that is MICD, taking a mice examples and a apartment complex example. And Homo sapiens has a less PPR compared to his like a competitor or his cousin, subspecies of human beings, Homo colossus. Technology overload, population overload creates also behavioral stress and so on. Homo sapiens here, Homo colossus here. This is a part of human ecology. Mitra and Bandhuvam, if you like the topic and presentations, I really appreciate you take the time and subscribe the channel and bring it to the notice of your friends. See you later in other presentations. Dr. J. Reddy at South Asia Maps Education channel. We discussed about human ecology, human predicament from Dr. Cotton's work. See you later.